Adedoyin Lawa. She's a creative engineer, a project manager, and a communications strategist. She's an entrepreneur and she's a writer, and she
I don't know, maybe when the
is passionate. Everyone take their place in the world. She will be speaking, and she's going to teach us on marketing ourselves and what the world needs from us post COVID-19, even in this season. Please, with no further ado, please let's welcome Engineer Doyin. And she's starting. Engineer, you have 20 minutes.
Way to scare the bad guys.
And she will share her screen with us also. So let's start writing and get started. See, please, yeah, she's welcome. So I want to see your comments and your clap and your emojis on the comment section. Thank you.
If you can hear me, please just put a comment down below so I know that everyone can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Hello. Cheers. Dr. Peace has already given a very elaborate introduction, and I'm very, very humbled. Thank you very much. So, like she said, our time is fast spent, so I will just dive straight into it, and I will share my screen with you in a moment. Okay. All right, so like she said, basically I will be taking us on how to position ourselves in the marketplace post-COVID-19, because we know that, like she said, things are happening and, you know, people are moving. Okay, so people are moving, and we also need to position ourselves strategically in the marketplace. So how can we do that? We know that, okay, for many of us, we might not, not all of us might have that goal to be entrepreneurs straight out of school, if I'm correct. Some of us, or even right now, even if we're done with school, some of us would like to look for a job, right? If I'm right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just basically be giving us basic tips, nothing too complex. Let me just, okay, great. All right. So I'll just, like I said, I'll be taking us on what to do post-COVID-19, how to position ourselves in the marketplace. And we will start with CV writing, how to write your CV. So the CV, everyone knows CV, okay. The curriculum vitae is, it originates from a Latin word, and it means the course of one's life. So like I always try to explain, picture this in your head. A CV is basically a documented story of your professional life. It tells us where you have been, where you are now, where you are going with your career. So the purpose of your CV is to inform employers about your education, your work experience, your skills, to sell your qualities in the labor market, right? And it's also an opportunity to show the employer why they should give you the job, why you are a great candidate for the job. So a good CV will make you stand out from the crowd. Imagine the thousands and thousands, millions of people in the labor market right now, or post-COVID-19. You know, some people would have lost their jobs. So it's going to be a mess. You're going to need a very, very good CV to stand out from the crowd, to draw attention to your relevant skills, and to create an impression for your employer. I'll just say this, everyone has potential. Writing a CV is not rocket science. Everyone has more skills than they think they have. Because all the time I hear people say to me, oh, Joy, I don't know, I don't have this skill. And then I just start to talk to them and I ask them, oh, so what did you do? What have you done? Where have you volunteered? And then, through the course of the conversation, I'm like, but you have negotiation skills. I mean, you go to the market, you haggle, you've done this, you've done that. So everyone has more skills than they think they actually have. You just need to pull it out from yourself and communicate it effectively. And lastly, everyone can write a good CV. Like I've said, it is not rocket science. Everyone can write a good CV. So basically, the do's of a good CV, you have to use a standard font size. You also have to include your work experiences, relevant and recent. Some people just, throw everything in there, but you have to include work experience that is relevant to what you are applying for. You need to be consistent in your layout, and you have to list your skills and achievements backed up with evidence. I would explain that. Also, you need to keep it short, like maximum of 2 pages. Please, if your CV is more than 2 pages, nobody's about to read it. Like the system will just, move it aside. Really, nobody's. It's not a storybook. Also, you need to use positive action verbs. Things like things that make you look smart. And you too, when they read your CV, be like, this girl, guy, he got it. Things like organize, what you accomplished, what you have achieved, what you delivered on your job. Also, you need to include a statement about your career aspirations. Like I said in the beginning, a CV is more like a story of your professional life. So it's telling us, where you have been, meaning your education, what you did, what you studied, where you are now, meaning what you are doing, and then where you hope to be, where you are going with your career. Also, you need to be honest. I see a lot of people lie on their CVs. You need to be honest. And proofreading. This is 2020. You cannot be caught making grammar mistakes on your CV or on any document set. Anybody that makes any grammar mistakes on any professional documents, that person, I don't even know what to say, but literally, this is 2020. You cannot be caught dead with grammar and punctuation errors on your CV. That is an automatic fail. Even if your CV is perfect, even if you do all these things that I've said, if you have one grammar mistake, you are out. So you need to get someone to check it for you. Do not write your CV in a rush. I see, especially in Nigeria, this happens a lot where people, are trying to apply for a job and they go straight to some, all those computer centers and they just have people type out something for them or just, do it in a rush. Do not do your CV in a rush. It is a marketing document, so you should not do it in a rush. Do not use offensive email addresses. My God, I can't even overemphasize this one. Preferably your name and surname, or your name and surname somehow in the mix. Do not leave gaps in employment. Your CV should be a flow. So always try to fill in any gaps that you see. For example, in medicine, if you took a gap year off, you need to fill it in activities in your CV. You need to fill in activities with something you did. Say you volunteered at a hospital. You need to put that in your CV so it doesn't look like you were idle and not doing anything for that point in time. Like I said, do not lie. A lot of people, because they want to beef up their CV and beef up their so-called experience, they put things that they did not do. You will be caught. There's no two ways about it. You will be caught because by the time if you are not caught during the interview process, you would be caught out of the job, and that would be bad for your integrity. So do not include irrelevant personal details like your marital status, your local government area, things like that, because it can be used as a bias against you for starters. Also, do not simply write a list of duties under your experience and just slap it there. Oh, service operator, oh, this, that, and you just write a list without telling us in details what you did, what you achieved, things that were delivered on the job. And do not use flashy or large fonts. Always remember, there is no single way to write a CV. It is your document, and you can write it in a way that is preferable to you, but it should be structured within the basic framework, which is what I'm taking you through right now. The most important thing to remember is that this is your first impression for an employer, and this is the only marketing brochure that you'll be presenting for yourself. Always remember that. So when you're writing a CV, just always remember it as, I'm marketing myself. I am marketing myself. I am marketing. Always have that in mind. So I'll give you 5 C's as tips for your CV. It should be clear, meaning well organized and logical. It should be concise, relevant, and necessary. Complete includes everything you need. Don't skip details. Don't skip professional experience. Do not skip education or certifications. Don't. It should be consistent, meaning that if you start with one font, you should use that all through. And it should be current and up to date. Don't be applying for a job and be on another job and forget to update your CV. And then they ask you what you're doing now, and you say, oh, I work here. And they're like, but it's on your CV. And you're like, I forgot. No, that should not happen. So your CV should always be up to date. If you're getting a new job, if you're doing a new certification, include it in your CV each and every day. So what should be on your CV? Start with your contact information, your full name, your email address, your permanent mailing address, or that's your residential address. I would say that it is advisable, if you're applying for a job in another country, try to put an address of that country, even though you are not there. Because what happens is, if you are saying Ukraine and you're applying for a job in the US, right? When your CV goes through the first HR analytics or the first HR software, the fact that you are not even in the US is already a disqualifying factor. So just always try to find an address that, of course, you should know someone there, not just a random address. So also put an email address, like I said, preferably your name and surname, your education, your professional experience, and whatever volunteer or extracurricular experiences that you have. So other sections of your CV that can be included are your certifications, your professional affiliations, your interests or hobbies, added qualifications. I will tell you why these are important. Okay, so proving your ability. There are 4 main things employers look for in your CV. The first is your education, because this tells them your ability to think, to analyze, to access information, to draw conclusions, to work independently, to do research. It basically tells them of what you have learned in school and how you've been trained. Your work experience tells of how well you work with people. Can you work under pressure? Can you meet deadlines? Are you good with teams? You know, then your interests. This is very important. I see a lot of people skip this. It tells people, it tells the employer how well you organize, plan. It also tells them that you have work-life balance, which is very important, because if you don't have work-life balance, we know that one of the main causes of mental stress and mental illnesses is not being able to balance adulting, you know, that work-life, that pressure. So it tells the employer that you have work-life balance and you are able to lead, and you can work hard and achieve results. You can compete in the marketplace. Also, if you have any specific skills, which you should, you know, like extra computer, everybody should be proficient in Microsoft Office. It's not even an excuse. You should be able to use Microsoft Word, Excel, even if it's basics of Excel, PowerPoint. Everyone should. If you can speak any foreign language or you have any artistic skills, you should also include that in your CV. So, matching up your CV with the position or company that you are applying to. Like I've said in the beginning, your CV is not a one-size-fits-all document, right? It should be tailored to the job that you are applying for. So sit down with it, do your research, like Dr. P said in the beginning, so what happens is when your CV goes through the first stage of the software, right? If there are no keywords from the job description which was posted, your CV gets trashed immediately. It's not even a joke. So must sit and put side by side your CV and the job that you were applying for. Another thing is research. Research the companies down to what colors that they represent, or like what are their main colors, what is their mission statement, what are their core values. These are things that you should just, throw in here and there in your CV so they know that your core values align with their company's core values. Also, we can see this guy, he can't even fit into the clothes. This is how you look, or this is how your CV looks when you just throw in something there and it's basically a mismatch for what you are applying for. You look like this guy, or your CV looks like this guy. So also, what would they be looking for in you? Who works there at the moment? Yes, go on LinkedIn, find people who work there, research on their LinkedIn page, know what they stand for, what are they passionate about. These are things that will help you. Presentation of your CV. So the first impression of your CV is really important. Like I said, it should be standard. If you do print out your CV, do not print it on a double side. Don't use front and back. Use the one side and the one paper and another paper. Check your spelling. I can't emphasize this enough. Please, people, check your grammar and spelling. I can't, like I said, I cannot emphasize this enough, because this situation is bad. People always neglect that fact. Always check your grammar and spelling. Use bullet points and bold fonts, but in moderation. So make your CV consistent, the formatting consistent, the font consistent, everything consistent. Your accomplishments, there should be a flow. You should not be telling us that you finished primary school in 2002 and then you worked in, for example, Deloitte in 2004. It does not make sense. Primary school and Deloitte experience, that is a mismatch. So your information, your accomplishments should be consistent. If you're in Nigeria, for example, you're Nigerian, do not be telling us that you worked somewhere. Let's say you achieved something during your NYSC and the years are correlating. It does not make sense. So let everything be consistent. And also consider your audience. One thing I do when I write is that I sit back and then I think about how my audience would read it. So I read it in their voice. I take myself out of the equation and I read it in my audience's voice, if that makes sense to you. But yes. So your references, people ask me about this all the time. Like I said, you have to do your research. Then you would know if it's compulsory to put your references or not. Like I said, it's not a one size fits all. You have to do the research yourself and find out what is obtainable for that company. But if you do put a reference, for freshers, it's advisable to, put one academic and one of the manager of where you work. If you've not worked anywhere, academics is just fine. If you do not include references, you should put that it will be available on request. Okay, so covering letters. As someone who has worked in HR, it is very annoying to see people just send blank emails with CV attachments. It is annoying and nobody looks at it. If you ever send your CV, not if you ever, when you are sending your CV with an email, always put a covering letter. Always, always. So there are two types. There's an accompanying letter
only boyfriend.
you put when you're not asked for a cover letter, and there is a letter of application. Okay, so the accompanying letter, just keep it short. Like I said, they usually don't request for it. If someone says, oh, send your CV, or you're applying to a company and they say send your CV, you should just write an accompanying letter in the email. So it just basically tells them of why you are writing it. It shows your basic skills, and then it refers to your CV that you have attached. So like I said, never send a blank email. Don't do it. If everybody else is doing it, because you have attended this conference, and you have heard me say, don't do it. Okay, so the letter of application is this one. You send it when they ask you to write a cover letter, like, oh, sending your CV and a cover letter. This one is more detailed. It's similar to a personal statement. It says your motivation for the job. It says your background, your skills, your work experiences, and how you match up to the job description and what you can offer the employer, your value proposition. Everyone should have a value proposition. If you're applying to a company, you should know the value. Let me tell you something. I don't know if it's a secret, but every organization is looking to save money or make money or both when they're hiring, right? Save, make, or both. So they would always want to hire someone that has a strong value proposition, meaning that someone that can help them make money, or someone that can help them save money, or better still, someone that can help them do both, save money and make money. Always have this in mind. So I'll basically, now I've talked, okay, about your CV. Where do you find these jobs? Just basics. I know that a lot of our audience is Nigeria and Ukraine. So networking, this is another thing I need to emphasize. You cannot stay in your room and say you're looking for a job, especially if you move to a new environment. Talk to people. When you're job hunting, you have to be shameless. It is a hustle ground out there. So network. You can never do enough of networking. Use contacts from everywhere, your friends, your people around you, people from church, people from school, people from previous job employment. I've had people recommend me from places I've worked years before, and maybe someone in a different company is looking for a manager or something, and then they recommend me. These are people that I've worked with a long time ago. So network, always keep people in your network. Also, social networking sites like LinkedIn, very important. I know that many of you, I'm assuming that many people here, are conversant with LinkedIn, but you might not necessarily use it enough. LinkedIn. Also, yes, like Instagram as well, DM people. It's all part of networking. Attend events. I cannot attend events. I've met a lot of people just by attending events. Don't wait for people. Go alone. Show up. All you need to do is show up. Whether you're job hunting or not, just show up. Someone invites you for an event. Show up. Show up, show up, show up. Okay. So you can also use internet sources like in Ukraine, rabota.ua, work.ua, in Nigeria, jobberman.com.ng, employmentnigeria.com, jobgurus.com.ng. So you asked me, what if I'm not really interested in a job post-COVID-19? I just want to do my own thing. I have a lot of people that come up to me and say, oh, Joy, I don't want to work for anybody. I want to be my own boss. And I laugh. First of all, please know that if you're interested in self-employment or a business, you are not your own boss. The customers are your bosses. If nobody has told you that before, I'm here to tell you that you are not your own boss. Have that in mind. Your customers are your bosses. They determine what you do. You only determine the workflow and the processes, but your customers are your bosses. So I'm not here to tell you about the details of business. There is someone else, to do that. We have a business coach coming on tomorrow, or I think the day after, but I'll just tell you the basics. So if you want to work for yourself, there are advantages, there are disadvantages. So advantages of self-employment, you choose, like I said, you choose your own work, something you enjoy, processes that you enjoy. You have your own freedom. Freedom in the sense that you have your work freedom. Nobody's micromanaging you. That's what the freedom means. It does not mean freedom to do as you will. It means that nobody is micromanaging you. So you can earn more money in the sense that eventually the money is not going to start coming as quickly as possible. Have that in mind. But eventually you start to earn more money than if you're in paid employment. And also you have a variety of people that you work with, or a variety of team. The disadvantage is that it's very risky. We know that, starting a business is high risk. There are long hours. It's not the regular 9 to 5. Having your own business is not a regular 9 to 5. It is back to back to back. It can be 12 hours. If you're starting off, you can, start off for 12 hours. I'm trying to build a business right now, and I can tell you that I barely get enough sleep. So there are long hours. Also, funding. It might be difficult to get funding. You have to apply for grants, or do crowdfunding or bootstrapping, all of that. Also, you need to have your own legal arrangements for tax. You need to know about taxing, because as a business owner, you cannot be ignorant about tax. Like, you just cannot be ignorant about tax. Also, research. This is my last point. If you want to start a business, you want to be self-employed, research, research, research. Spend a lot of time researching. There's something called the business model canvas. That's where you talk about your customer segments and other things that the business consultant will probably tell us about. But research, I cannot tell you this enough. Do a lot of research. The industry you want to break into, your sources of funding, all of that, research. So if you have any questions, you can write them in the chat, and much later we would address them. But yes, thank you. This is all I have for you.
Thank you so much. Please, do we have any question for her about CV? She will have the PPT, the presentation, sent to you. If you want, you can send us your email. We'll drop our email address on the comment section so that you can send us your email, and we'll send this presentation to you. So do anybody have any questions?
Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're yet to, and follow me on all social media platforms to get constant motivational videos to help you live intentionally today.